as one, walk with thousands.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dad Bods and Beards. We've got a fun one today. Before we get into that and introducing our guest, we wanted to highlight our primary sponsor as always, which is Mountain Ops. We are literally weeks away
5
from the marathon.
I'm a little nervous.
No way.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I can tell.
really sore, and I know I can do it, but I feel like everyone will be done, and it'll be midnight before I finish.
Yeah.
That's how.
So what's going to be your fuel of choice for Mountain Ops before we go, before the marathon?
Ignite, like Rocky Mountain Ricky.
Yeah. And just like Yeti mode.
Yeah, they don't have Rocky Mountain Ricky and Yeti.
Yeah, it's pink lemonade. But no,
It is good though.
I found out today from Brock that I didn't know how it works because I never ran one before, but you running the half will literally just start halfway down the course and then we finish at the same spot. I didn't know if it was like we started at the same spot.
Seriously, the only goal I have is you guys not to pass me.
Yeah, because, so now that we've talked about Mountain Ops, but go check out mountainops.com.
You tell them.
Hold on, I got to finish the sponsor part.
First.
I got to finish. That's what we're paid for. So go check out mountainops.com. Grab any of the products there. You'll get 20% off with code DADBODS. And anything you buy online, proceeds go to help feeding families in need. Okay, now you can say what you're
Tell
going
them
to say.
about the gorilla analogy. It made me feel better about my life.
Oh, okay. Before that, we've got our buddy Corey Bohner, probably the best beard we've ever had on the show. Every time we have somebody on the show, they're always like,
Don't look like that.
everybody,
I saw your eyes.
Everybody on the show who doesn't have a beard, they're always like, oh, I feel like I have to grow a beard. You're like the one guy who you don't have to say that.
I don't have to.
But
I deserve to be here.
yeah.
You still have the dad bod though.
Corey's our buddy that we met. Oh, geez, it's only been like 4 or 5 months at
It's been longer than that. It was last summer, wasn't it?
Somewhere
X
there.
Room. Yeah, so we met Corey like a lot of everyone else
months.
through Sean at one of the X Room events. You guys have seen some of the stuff we post on social media, and we obviously connected over beards. I feel like that's a good calling card.
Our
And
beards
then
touched.
Corey got involved with Copper Johns.
You wanted to touch
and then
mine.
I roped Corey into running the marathon in June.
Unfortunately.
I've posted a couple videos of running with Corey on social media, so we'll get into you and your story and stuff like that. But before, Tyson wants me to tell you the gorilla analogy.
Well, tell them why.
So you've seen the stuff on social media about the whole 100 men versus a gorilla.
No,
right?
because I'm slow. I can't. I continue to run, but I can't get faster. And I've lost weight, all this kind of stuff. But I just with a knee replacement. I'm not trying to use an excuse, but I'm just I can't.
I think we
get
all
faster.
feel slow when we're running.
Yeah. I mean,
I felt slow when we were running.
when we were running the Provo
I
Canyon,
felt like we weren't going anywhere.
yeah, we were getting passed by these little teenagers, and was like, this is embarrassing.
I once my first 5K I ever ran in my entire life. I got passed by walking grandmas.
But you told me you wanted me to tell the gorilla thing, and then you keep interrupting me. So have you seen this stuff on social media about the 100 men versus one gorilla debate that's going on?
Okay.
No, you're too busy to worry about.
I didn't
So
know
there's
about
this
it.
thing on social media right now because it's just whatever's dumb and always trending of arguments going back and forth that if it was one full-grown silverback mountain gorilla whatever versus 100 peak mental peak fit guys,
Okay.
who would win? And the argument is it's a gorilla. He's just gonna kill you guys. And then it goes through all this. Basically, there was a scientist that came out and basically said that as strong as gorillas are, and this is where I kind of compared it back to Tyson, is they have small bursts of energy because it takes so much energy to fuel that massively strong individual. So he says, yeah, he'd tear through about 20 to 50 of the guys.
I just want to be the guy in the back.
Yeah, I was gonna say you want to be in the back 50. So I just told that to Tyson. I was just kind of don't compare yourself to some of these other.
Because I have 230 pounds of lean mass, after doing the body scan and stuff.
Which is nuts. 230 pounds of lean mass is nuts. At being 270?
Yeah.
Okay. So stop being so hard on yourself.
No, but I just I feel.
Running, it's one of those things I hate it.
Yeah.
I've never been a runner. I hate it every time you and I go out.
I know.
My mental capacity is why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Because you called me and said I gotta go.
And you're super competitive.
Well, and I have FOMO because if you can do it, I'm gonna do it. So
And that's literally
that's the problem. And you said, oh, we're going to go 18 miles. And I'm like, okay,
And
well,
you and Robert are going to be running, and so both your beards are just going to be glistening.
no, I'm going to braid it.
So
It's all going to be nice and pretty and braided for the run.
Yeah, and I think Robert does the same thing for races and stuff. He's going to be braided or like do a nice bun. I'm going to do, I'm going to lay on like a little bit of the beard balm and wax to just make sure it keeps its shape so I don't get like the middle split.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm too.
I'm going to do all that. And then I'm going to take some Copper Johns and
butter. You rub it on your nipples and in between
Yep.
your legs.
I did it every time I go out.
I know.
Yep. Put a little bit on there.
No, seriously,
It
you
works.
put it on your nipples, and it's like, oh.
I don't get the rash.
What was so funny is I remember it was like October that I'd signed up, and it was like in November. I told you I was like, yeah, I'm running this marathon, and I could just almost see it in your face, like, oh, why? You're like, well, I'll do it with you. Like I didn't even ask you. You just like that FOMO of like.
But you called me and you're like, so I'm gonna do this run, this marathon, and I'm like,
You're like Robert's
Have you
flying
ever
away
ran a
from
marathon
Florida.
have I even run a half? Last week and the weekend
We
before?
did. Yeah, he ran his
That was the first time. I don't run that far.
Um,
I could do 5Ks, no problem.
So it's a Saturday when I have to run 8, and you guys are running 18. 8's the furthest I've ever ran.
Good
Well,
for
there you go.
dude. That's still
We're still hitting all of these, milestones
Yeah.
because I sure as heck have never run that
But
far.
how does that play? Like this is like that.
We're
thought-
doing High Rocks in December.
Do you know what High Rocks is?
No.
It's more of like it's like a more.
So Logan and I are doing a
CrossFit
team where
type
it's me and him.
Oh, I used to
But
do
you should
CrossFit
do
a
it by
while ago.
yourself. I'm just saying. Anaheim, taking our families in December, going to Disneyland after.
He makes all these plans that we never actually discussed.
Oh, whatever, mister. Hey, we're doing this,
Taking
and
our
this. And I have no
families.
idea what you're talking
And I
about.
find it out later. Hey, we're gonna do this, and oh, you're invited.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call.
But no, how does that make you feel like going? We ran 14 2 weeks ago, right? But it's like it was just a regular day, right? But it was a half marathon
Oh, yeah.
and then some change. Versus like if it just happened to be a scheduled marathon, there'd be all this like pomp and circumstance of like, yay, you also did it. But that was just part of a day that we had to work into training.
Yeah, no, it sucks. I'm just, I can't wait till it's over. To be honest with you, we'll be at the finish line because we're all gonna
now
make
you're
it.
going to do High Rocks. Just saying. And
What is this? What is High Rocks?
it's a mix of sprinting,
say
lifting weights, and CrossFit.
Okay,
I don't even think we really even know what it is. So
I have no idea.
It's this
Just
whole-
going
it's this
blind and
I
hopefully-
mean, it's like a CrossFit type competition where like in between every exercise, there's like a run or like a sprint, like a certain distance, and there's like you can do it either singular or you can do it with partners where like one guy does the running and one guy does all the lifting, and then it's like there's burpees and there's like the skier, there's rowing.
oh yeah.
There's
So
all kinds of.
it sounds like a CrossFit competition. Very similar.
But it doesn't have some of the dangerous lifts that might hurt you and stuff like that.
Okay, all right.
No, so if you guys can't tell, Corey's a really fun, like kind of close buddy of ours that came in. I don't know. It's one of those situations where you feel like you just fit like right off the bat.
Yeah.
And we've done. I mean, our families have gone out for birthday dinners and stuff like that together. We still have yet to be invited to play pickleball at Corey's awesome house
Just wait,
because
it's not done yet.
We don't
it's
play
not?
pickleball.
Well, I mean, that's done, but the rest of the house,
He's gonna put in a pool.
I'm a perfectionist, so I want things to be.
Yeah.
It's true.
So that leads into. So we want to talk a little bit. We know you've done some other podcasts and stuff like that talks about your. I feel like you've done everything. From like,
There's been a lot of things.
there's been a lot of things. I mean, every time we've gone running, which is fun because the first time we ran together, we literally ran. The first day was on Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah.
We went and ran a 5K, and
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
I almost
So, yeah.
died.
But it's how I justify eating
Yeah,
that day.
yeah.
No
And then-
guilt.
But then I feel like so that was like you and I started getting to know each other then, and now we're doing some of these longer runs and stuff, and then I'm working with you on some of your content and stuff. But like I don't even know where to start with some of your story, what you want to share. But like I feel like every time I talk to you, you're like, oh, I also used to be a firefighter. Oh, I also used to be a this.
And Chippendale.
Yeah. We'll keep that one.
So
I used to work at Thunder Down Under in Vegas.
That's another story.
That reminds me of Patrick Swayze and what's his name, who passed away, Saturday Night Live.
I don't know.
The guy who said, "I used to live in a van down by the
Oh,
river."
Chris Farley,
Chris Farley,
the guy
and-
from Saturday Night
Yeah,
Live.
when
Farley.
they were like
Yeah, the
Chippendales, he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you said fit? I thought you said fat."
It's too bad he's still not around.
So,
Dude,
I
yeah.
love Chris Farley.
Man.
So give us the rundown. How do you go from a guy that was first responder, firefighter, to like real estate mogul like you are today?
That's a good question. So I'll give you a little background on a story about kind of where it evolved. So originally my dad, he was a chiropractor. So I grew up and saying, I'm going to be just like my dad. I'm going to take over the family business. So he long time chiropractor. My mom's dad was a chiropractor back in the day when it was voodoo. Oh. They actually did it behind the storefronts. No. So in order to get adjusted, or it was voodoo. So
it was
like
actually
it was illegal.
Really?
Yeah. So my grandpa started that. And then funny enough, happened to meet my mom or whatever. And then he became a chiropractor because he had an injury. And anyway, so I was going to go into the family business, be a chiropractor. So I went to the University of Nevada, Reno, and was studying biology. So I was going to become, chiropractor. I was just getting all the stuff into it.
Prerequisites.
Yeah. Well, I graduated in 2006. 2008 is when the big crash happened.
Yeah.
So real estate crash just completely just demolished pretty much anyone that had a house. Mm-hmm. Well, my parents were one of those. So I dropped out of college and I went home and I helped them move away from, because my dad had worked to, build this amazing like ranch. It was a beautiful home. We rebuilt the whole thing inside of it, re-renovated. It was his retirement. Well, he lost it, all of it. Oh. So part of that was, okay, so I'm going home. I quit, dropped out of college, and then I just got a job around town to help them kind of recover after that. Well, during that time, I was asked to take a course as an EMT. So I got my EMT. And I was like, okay, so if I'm going to wait and sit here while I'm waiting to figure out what I'm going to do and when I'm going back to college, why not just take some classes? So I took an EMT course and I got my EMT license. Local fire department. Well, funny enough, I liked it. And the adrenaline. So I'm a adrenaline junkie when I was younger. I still am. As you can tell,
I was going to say, just tell me we're going to do something.
Skydiving.
We just say we're going to do
tell
something.
me we're going to go do something crazy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much in.
Corey's like, I'll drive.
I'm like, yeah, if I get that adrenaline pump, then I'm in. So, firefighting, I then started to take classes on it. And pretty much from there, I was full in. Like I was going to be a firefighter. That was my life calling. And I said, I'm done with college. I'm done going that direction. So I went through all the courses. I went through everything to be able to get from my fire 1, my fire 2, and then I got a paid spot on the fire department. So I trained, I applied, and I got one of the spots as a firefighter at our fire department. So from there, I literally rented a place right across the street. I lived and breathed fire. That's all I did. But it pretty much engulfed my entire life. That's all I did. So I was at the fire station 24/7. I would volunteer on my days off, and I wouldn't leave. And so fire was just, that's all I knew. And that's where I was going. And I knew everything about it. I knew everyone in town. I was a badass. Mm-hmm. I got to drive lights and sirens. Everyone knew me. Mm-hmm. And well, there was a point where it was like, okay, I got to work all the way up to get my paramedic. Well, that was not clicking as well of going, because I was like, I've got all this other stuff, but the medical, as you get into paramedic, it starts to get pretty intense.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I could not pass that test. And so from there it was, well, you either pass the test or you're done at the fire department. So my life went crumbling down at the point.
So was that you telling yourself that? Or
no,
was
that was the chief saying, if I don't get this, I don't have a position anymore.
Oh.
So it was like, well, I'm screwed. So now I got to figure out something else. So I pretty much I quit the fire department. I said, well, I'm not going to be told this. And I jetted to Utah and spent an entire year here and snowboarded the entire year. Because I was like, I need some mental clarity. I need to, my life was firefighting. What am I going to do now? Like I was going to go back and take it regardless and just keep going with it. But I spent an entire year here snowboarding in Utah. I mean, I wasn't from here. I was originally from northern Nevada.
Yeah.
So came here And then went back home, got a medical position job at just some, delivering oxygen.
Yeah.
Just something to pass the time while I was trying to figure out what the hell am I going to do with my life? Because, all right, firefighter, had a kick-ass job, knew a bunch of people, and then kind of.
And how old were you at this time?
So I think I was 21 when I got the fire paid position. And I think I was like 24 by the time that happened.
So you're still pretty young.
Yeah,
I was
so you're
pretty,
still
yeah,
a kid, man.
yeah. I was still young, but I just didn't know what the hell I was going to do with my life. And I was stuck in this kind of weird transition.
Yeah.
So I moved in with one of my best friends. He was a cop, kind of funny enough. And he had it all going for him. I was like, man, you've got it. And I'm just still screwing around, not knowing what I'm going to do. So I decided to say, you know what? I'm just going to leave Nevada because there's just nothing here. Mm-hmm. And I liked Utah and I knew some people here. So came here and got a job at a local property management company, funny enough. Okay. Well, they say property management is not something that you'd actually go into business for, because why would you want to get yelled at by everyone, tenants, owners? It's a very thankless job.
Yeah.
But anyways, I got in maintenance all positions, just something so to get me here and settled into Utah. My mentality when I go into something like when it was firefighting, I was all in. So that means I read their book and I read it frontwards and backwards and I passed and aced every test.
Yeah.
Like when I'm engaged into something, I'm fully committed to it. I my whole mental power is just all into that. Mm-hmm. So I did the same when I got into property management. There was a complete system that was a nightmare. I had to call every owner. It was such a mess in their maintenance department. And I said, I'm going to fix this. So I redeveloped their entire maintenance, processes and systems to get it efficient and smooth. And funny enough, I met investors that I became really good friends with while dealing with their properties. And that led to, because I was in marketing and film. I've done everything.
Yeah,
I've done film and photography. I had a whole. We did cinematic films and all this kind of stuff.
So no pressure creating content for this guy, by the way.
No, it's. Some of my films were really cool back then.
Yeah,
back when we were making cinematic films with stuff before.
Now it's on
the
your
equipment.
iPhone.
The equipment that you have now is nuts. But that was 10. Well, yeah, it was like 13 years ago when we were doing all that. Yeah. But anyways, fast forward, I got offered a job to help build a brokerage and an investment firm that was doing fourplexes. And so I got into, that's where I first got into, developing relationships with investors, and they're buying these fourplexes. They're making a lot of money. I see success, and these agents are just, I was always involved in real estate, liking it, but I didn't know how to do anything with it.
Yeah.
So again, brain power kicks in and go, okay, I quit my job with the property management company because I got offered this killer. And funny enough, a lot of their properties were going to this management company. I go over to them, help them start to develop and build the marketing systems to sell these fourplexes and these investments. So I came in right as the beginning, as they were kicking it off. And this was like 12 years ago. And I started to develop all the sales platforms because I knew the marketing, I knew the film, and I was basically helping them with all their content at the time.
Yeah.
And from there, they brought in people that were, this management company pissed them off. And so they're like, all right, well, we don't want to work with them. We need to create our own management company. And so I was there.
Yeah.
And seeing I know how that management company was operating. I hated it. I could do this. Mm-hmm. So they came to me and said, guess what? We're going to start a management company, but I'm going to bring someone in to run it. And I'm like, all right, so you want me to help you build it, but I'm just kind of a part of it? Okay, I'll help you do it. Because I was engaged in the marketing. I thought that was my, film and photography. I thought that was where I wanted to go. So I was helping do that and simultaneously helping build the management company for this guy that was flown in from Washington, a friend of his. And funny enough, he was doing drugs. He was, siphoning away the money that was being given to him and not doing anything in that division to help build it or do anything with it. So he jetted, and it was just left there. And so they came to me and they're like, all right, well, we have a problem.
Yeah.
We need to solve this. Do you want this
They're
opportunity?
like, we have a problem and you're a little unhinged. Do you want to do it?
Yeah. you've got this crazy, and this, I mean, I literally just got married almost just a year prior.
Sure.
So I'm newly married and I found my wife here in Utah. As most people do.
Yeah.
They come to Utah and they get
I say,
hitched.
I found mine in California and then we both moved here.
Yeah. Everyone ends up in Utah.
Yeah, I know.
Hitched. So I'm newly married, right? And you want to spend time with, your wife and you're like, but the way my brain works is, again, I focus heavily going down this route. So I said, bring it on. You're going to give me this opportunity. I'll make it happen.
Yeah.
So then it started from there, and it was a grind from that point on. I had to get my real estate license. At the same time of taking on properties, learning the software, learning accounting, because I'm not necessarily great with numbers.
Yeah.
Building an accounting department and understanding how do the numbers work, rents come in, things happen, how does it debits and credits work within the system, and really trying to understand how do I build out an entire operating system to manage people's or investors' properties and money.
Yeah.
Like we're dealing with their money, not mine. So you're managing all of this while also simultaneously trying to show units, rent units, sell owners on the services. So I was doing everything, building this all, and I would spend, very similar to, Tyson, where you spend all night long making beard oil.
Yeah.
It was the same thing in educating myself. So I spent 4 years in books, education, going to any event I possibly could that had anything to do with property management. And all these people around here in Utah didn't know who the hell this kid was that is trying to learn all this property management, because I would just ask questions. I would piss people off because of how many questions. Well, what about this? What about this? What about that? Until I got something that I could go try to plug in and figure it out. So got my real estate license and then started to build a team. I couldn't do it all. So I poached one of the office managers at the previous property.
Oh, really?
Just because I was like, the fastest way to get somewhere is someone that's already been doing it. So I poached her. She still works with us today.
Wow.
So funny enough, I poached her. She helped to build some of the systems that
You were like lacking.
that we were lacking, or the manpower to be able to just crank through, all of the accounting and all the operations there. So got her in, and then I started to develop teams and build, and then get relationships with all these investors. Think about that. They're selling all these fourplexes, they're developing them, and they wanted it was supposed to be just a super easy investment opportunity where you get management, you're taken care of. You're just going to get cash flow. And that's what these
You
investors
really don't have
wanted.
to do anything.
No. So it was just a plug and play. When we had the management figured out, guess what happened? They exploded.
Oh, yeah.
I was getting them rent. They were continuing to buy these things, and it just kept going. It's just a cycle. So we built from 4 developments to over 30 developments of all these multifamily fourplexes and across different states. And we went to Texas, and we in Arizona and Idaho. So started very small. I started with 1 and 2 doors, and started to build teams, operations. And the biggest part of all of this was the relationships that I had with all these investors, and then the ownership I had with it. Because if I screwed up, I said, yeah, it's my bad. I have owners to this day that just because of the way we treated them and owned up to the mistakes, because we were new. I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
At certain points, like, shoot, this is the first time I've ever heard of this. So it just takes that time and grind, and I never gave up.
I learn something new every day, I swear.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things. You get something new every day, and property management is really funny because there's no perfect operational book I can just open and go, oh, I've seen that before. So we've continued to develop all of our systems, our operations, our people, and invested in our people and those systems and those marketing and those relationships has kept keeping us going. So, today, I mean, we're over $1 billion in assets.
That's nuts, dude.
So if you look at an asset manager group, they're managing, 50, 60, 100, 200 million. I'm over $1 billion in people's assets that we have under management.
And do you think that comes back to like all of the time you spent building the process.
Yeah.
Like, cause like that's what I feel like it comes back to when you, like any of these like successful businesses that we've talked to. Cause every now and then we do like heavy mental health. And then we also have this like entrepreneurial side that we like to focus on, which is that's kind of where this episode has gone, is as you know, we're building our brand. Tyson's still in like, you know, within the first 5-6 years of Copper John's, which still is like relatively young for a business, right? You're learning all of these different like processes. You're learning all these different like ups and the downs. So
those efficiencies, and you got to learn from all the mistakes, because there's no book unless someone's just going to come right over and say, well, I've done all those mistakes. Let me show you how to do it.
They won't.
It's not doesn't work that way. Now they give you pieces if you ask for it.
Yeah.
Like they'll give you nuggets to work on. But I think it's truly important that you need to go through those struggles to understand what it actually means when you've actually built something. And what's what people don't understand is like, hey, I didn't just get given this thing.
Yeah.
It's being built.
well, it's like it must be nice.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
No, I'm going through one of those right now, and it's like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And the
because
struggles.
I made a mistake.
Yeah, it's the
And
struggles that you learn and the mistakes that you've done, and then you just got to own up. Well, the biggest thing that I've learned over doing this for as long as I have, the more I own up to the mistakes that I've made, the easier it is to move on to the next.
100%.
100%.
Like, I mean, it just makes it really. I can tell someone and say, you know what? Yeah, I screwed up
How
with my
have
team.
you been able to handle the stress? Because that's where I'm at.
So as two guys that we've built our whole brand off of being called the Dad Bods, and now we're like affectionately called the Dad Bods even in like networking circles. So the cool part for us when we're balancing work, family, life, and everything that we're doing along with our mental health, it's nice to have a personalized coach in your pocket that knows you and your goals, that actually gives a crap. Which is cool for me is that when I'm using the app, it connects to my watch and I've got it playing through my earbuds. So while I'm playing my music, I also have Nate literally coaching me saying, "Kay, we've got 12 sets of lat pull downs at 65 pounds." And then it's tracking my reps.
Yeah,
and then
but
it says,
if you notice is you're going too fast, or
Yeah.
you're like, you need to slow down. I'm like, what?
and then he'll be like, "Great set, 35-second rest." So it takes all of the guesswork out of it for me. He's been helping me a lot with my core strength and my leg strength, my hip flexors. So the personalized touch while having him in my pocket for notes and then feedback and all that stuff has made a huge difference.
I recently showed my friend, he came and worked out with me doing the train wheel, and he loved it so much he's already signed up. And so if you're a regular guy who just doesn't necessarily have the time to understand what you need to do, take all the guesswork out, that is very inexpensive, that it is personalized to what you need, go sign up for Trainwell.
So download Trainwell today and get your free 14-day trial, because it's not just about getting fit, it's about showing up for yourself. And the best way that listeners can get access to this themselves is by heading to go.trainwell.net/dadbodsandbeards.
So as I'm growing within Copper Johns and with Dad Bods, there's more responsibilities, there's more pressures, there's more money involved, more bills, more raw materials I have to purchase. And so I'm starting to feel the stress more than I ever have.
Yeah.
And because of that, some days there's good days, and some days I don't know how to let go of that stress. How have you been able to handle $1 billion worth of properties and continue to grow and continue to grind and be able to handle that stress? Like, what do you do?
Well, like this week, one of my director has been there for 8 years with me, left. He's found a different path, right?
Yeah, we were talking about that when we were running.
Yeah. So no matter what, you're always going to have challenges that come up.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be peaks and valleys of just different stress and how you're doing it. The best thing that you guys are doing right now is your bodies. That right there was one of the key factors that I changed in my life, where you eat better, you work out. Like every day, I wake up at between 5:30 and 5:45. I am up with my wife. We're in the gym and we're working out. Doesn't matter. We're together, we're working out. That's where we get our time to talk. So there's a stress reliever there, but the endorphins and things that come out while working out and actually fueling your body the right way can help you maintain those stress levels.
So I don't know if I didn't know if you were like wanting to get into that, because I feel like we talk about all this a lot right now, because this is like, we're actively doing this.
Yeah.
Right. But like, And you are not the same guy you used to be in a lot of different senses.
Yeah.
Right. Like you were the EMT. You were doing all different types of stuff. Now you're doing the real estate, property management, all this stuff. But you also were very different in a lot of other aspects.
You're right.
So
there was a pivotal moment. We didn't obviously we didn't go that way. We went more with what I've done in my career. But there was a time when I weighed almost 4 bills. Yeah. And I was huge. I was bigger than both of you guys.
Yeah. I was 350 last August.
Yeah. So I think my highest peak was like 383, almost 390. So I was a totally different person.
How tall are you?
When I met my wife, I said I was 6 foot. I'm actually, Chelsea's tall.
You're
no,
like 5'11".
I'm 5'11".
Yeah, I was gonna say because you're taller than me. I'm 5'10".
Yeah,
and I'm not. So, I came down from 5'11" to 5'10", and I am stopping there.
You guys are still little babies.
so
the biggest, I made a decision that I was gonna go have. I had surgery. And I made that decision. It was the best decision I made because one, it changed my mental look about how I looked at myself inside, and then how it projected outside. Regardless of what people say, you still care about how you look towards others.
100%.
But it takes so much work after that, though.
It does.
It's not like you walked out post surgery and you're down 200 pounds.
No, it's mental.
Yeah.
Do you know weight is a huge correlation to your mental thought process.
I feel so much better where I used to wear 5X, now I'm in 2X.
Yeah.
And by the time I get it, maybe XL.
It will continue though, and it goes through your business as well. So when you feel better on the outside and you can project better and you feel better every day, it allows you to go, oh, I can grind and I can get through this day. And you think about the day differently. So when you're fueling your body correctly, when you're actually, giving it what it needs, and you get to release, like I love working out. Mm-hmm. Now I'm not like as big as I'd like to be, but it's consistency.
Yeah.
I don't miss a day. And if I do, if I happen to miss a day, it's very rare. My entire day is shit.
Yeah, well, you messed up your whole process.
Oh yeah,
going back to your business, it's a process.
It literally affects my entire day, my team, my operation. So if I don't get my clarity in the morning, the rest of my day is shot. So I've learned that with the stress, as you're coming back to that, one, you always have to have an out. Find it. Whether it's mine is typically a lot of it's working out, and then it's my relationship with my wife. My wife is the one that talks me off the ledge.
Yeah,
because there's multiple times I'll spiral and I'm on the ledge all the time.
Yeah,
even to this day, what you experience is no different than any other entrepreneur or business owner out there.
Does it get bigger though? It feels like as I'm growing,
it gets different.
Okay, but that's actually a really good.
It gets different. It's not going to stop. So what people need to realize, the stress, the pain, it's different. You've solved this one, you move on to the next one.
Yeah, it's just a series of new problems.
It's a series of new problems, and
it sucks.
It does. And that's the thing. You know what's great about it though? When you get to that successful point and you're like, yeah, I made it because I went through all these trials and I understand, what all these pieces mean. And so that gratification that you're like, hey, I've hit it here, but you know what? I'm always afraid internally. Well, what's tomorrow going to bring?
Yeah.
So you always have that fear, but fear also drives. It's just like anything else. Fear will drive. In my mind, fear drives me to the next thing, but it doesn't stop me from continuing on.
I love that. That's exactly how I feel.
So you just hit different points in a business, and it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be business. Mm-hmm. You're always going to have stress. It's where's your out? My out is working out. My out is, it's not necessarily like I can't go mountain biking like I want to, or go skiing or go golfing. I'd love to have that as my out, but my out is I've committed myself every morning. I'll wake up. I don't care if I go to bed at 4:00 in the morning. I'm still waking up an hour and a half later to go work out. Yeah. I don't sacrifice that.
Which is funny because it's like in the time period that we've known you, and when we went running a couple weeks ago, and we were going over like what's left on the training schedule, and you've got your own process or whatever, and you're like, I'll do the big ones with you, which we've got 18 and 20 and then a couple other ones before the actual marathon. So I was talking to you today and I was like, oh, you're going to come do 18 with me on Saturday. You're like the one guy that, like, if you're telling me you can't, it's because you literally have like too many other things going on. Yeah, it's not like you're humming and because it's almost like
I'll go with you.
I would say you're probably more like annoyed if you couldn't go because you had something else because of the FOMO thing. But that's the thing is it's like, I respect and admire like the process because that's what I'm trying to figure out as like, there's a little pride issue thing here, but like 35 first time, like legit entrepreneur. And you're taking some chances on me in some of the new content that I'm doing. And I do some content for Copper Johns and I have all my own stuff and we have the podcast. I'm trying to build my processes right now. And it's turning me gray. Like it's driving me nuts. And I was telling you when we were on the run, I'm like, I feel like every time I turn around, it's Friday. But as a guy who had a paycheck every single week for my entire adult career, I always waited till Friday. And Friday took forever to get here. Now Friday's like, what did I even do this week? Like, what did I get done? Did I get anything done? I was busy all week long. I was literally busy all week long into the night. But I'm like, what did I get done? Like, did this invoice even get paid? Did I even get that deliverable done? Did I did it? And next thing I know, I'm kind of like, and it's like you said, it's different. I'm realizing that I'm introducing myself into all these extra stressors, but I'm also at the same time trying to be like, I like this. I think I like this. I do like this. Like, cause it's like, I don't have the same stresses of like complaining about a job that I had.
Yeah.
But
I also look at it this way. When you wake up in the morning, what like you got to give it your all, or why wake up? I tell it to my people all the time. I said, well, why are you here this morning? Because you woke up and you committed to actually getting to work today. Are you going to actually give it your all today? Because that's how I look at it. If I'm going to wake up, I'm actually going to wake up. Otherwise, just stay in bed. I look at it that way. If you're not going to give it all or 1% better today than you did yesterday, why even get out of bed? Because I just tell them, we'll just take a sick day then. Like, don't come here and give it I'm just here for a paycheck or a half-assed day. I absolutely hate that. I don't live that way. Now, you can't train everyone, but the one things that I go after is, am I going to be 1% better than I was yesterday? Or am I going to give it my all today? Because today, it was just like me. It was grinding. We're late tonight, and I literally did not have 2 seconds to just barely go to the bathroom before my next call or next meeting.
yeah.
And I like those. I actually enjoy those days where I like, holy crap, I've got 400 emails sitting in there and I haven't touched them yet, but guess what I got to do? I got to do those all tonight. But I actually thoroughly enjoy the constant like going,
Like
because it gets me, I did something today. Whether you can't track it, which find ways to track it. Yeah. Because then that like, oh my gosh, I got to win. So you take those wins and those small wins start compiling on top of each other. But if you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to grind all day long, were you 1% better than you were the day before?
Well, that's the thing is one thing we work on with Brock is almost like these problem resolution formula that he has. And while that works really good for like some of the deep-seated mental health stuff that we talk a lot of times, I'm starting to use that in some of my like entrepreneurial side. And I talked to you about this one time on the run. I'm like, I'm too comfortable working at my house. And I was like, hey, real estate, what do I do about this? So, whatever. And we're talking about that, but it's like realizing that like, I've got to set a schedule and get out of my home office for X amount of hours a day and go somewhere, whether it's like a studio or whatever. And it's, my brain is over here, like the ADHD brain plus the bipolar brain is like, ooh, we like it. New stimulus. Like, it's like new stimulus out here. But it's like trying to put it all into a repeatable process is where I'll admit I keep smacking my teeth on the curb. Like I keep tripping up and I'm like, okay, trying to learn from there and then like grow and create the new process. But it's fun, but it's scary because then you got commitments and then you got, so.
Systems, processes, repeat, and continue to build and strengthen those processes and systems, because those then buy you back time. You'll get it.
Do we want to keep doing this, or should we just like throw in the towel? I'm just kidding. But no, dude, this is super cool. Like, I mean, obviously we talk crap like this all the time with you, but like it's cool to kind of get like the broken down. I consider you like one of my mentors, not just my friends. Like we've talked about a bunch of stuff. I mean, when we were having studio changes, we were talking to you about a bunch of stuff. So I think my biggest takeaway here is like, I feel like just the process, you can apply that in so many different aspects.
Yeah.
Like family, fitness, I mean, faith, even in just like your process of developing, like almost like what you say, like unnegotiables.
Yeah.
Like non-negotiables. Unnegotiables is not a word. Non-negotiables.
Yep. That's why I just wake up every morning. It's going to happen. Yeah.
So as we're getting close to wrapping up, what's in the wealth of knowledge you've already given us? Like what's another plethora of knowledge? What's like a nugget of anybody who might be in their like EMT phase? Like you think you've got what you've got figured out, but there might be something bigger on the horizon.
Yeah. You just can't give up in what you're aspiring to be. It doesn't matter what it is. Like you might not know what it is, because I didn't know. I didn't know this was what I was going to do.
I didn't know I wanted dad bods as much as, you know. No,
and you guys are doing great.
Thanks.
So it's that repetitive and not giving up, and then continuing to get that passion behind it. And you might not be passionate, because property management I wasn't passionate about, but I found something that I could gravitate to and I can make it better. So you need to find whatever it is and make whatever it is better at what you're doing. And that's kind of my 1% rule. And I've ripped it off of multiple people, but if you wake up 1%, you just be better and 1% better every day, but make sure you're going in a forward direction. If you're just there for a paycheck or just there on a bump on a log and I'm just going to sit here all day long, I know way too many people now. That's why people don't continue to succeed. Yep. Your struggles that you're going through and your struggles that you're going through are going to continue to make you better to get you to where you want to be. And so
it's just sexy. I just want to be sexy.
Speaking of that, that's kind of a good segue into what you're doing with all of the content that you're pushing out.
Yeah.
So I feel like you got like 12 Instagram pages. Not that kind of sexy. We're joking.
I have a personal, I have a business, and then I have a fun one. It's Red Fox Beard because of Copper John's.
Yeah.
Sure.
Literally, that's what it was for. I created that page when I met you.
But I would say like some of your talking head monologue stuff is great because it's such good business advice. So I want to put people onto it. We're gonna link your pages and some of your content.
Yeah.
We were joking is Corey, one thing you've said a lot when we were talking about content issues, you're like, I don't know how to make property management sexy.
Yeah.
But we're trying. But I think that it's just business knowledge in general.
Yeah. And we're just going to direct it towards more of, we'll start bringing in more content of actually like investing and, getting more into that. But yeah, I speak about property management. It's not sexy, but we're trying to make it. I mean,
but there's so many like key business principles that you can take away from like we've taken away, and we're in like the media side.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll link all of Corey's stuff. It's Corey Bohner. He's got obviously the best beard we've ever seen on the podcast.
Corey Bohner and then Red Fox Beard. So the fun stuff is Red Fox Beard with Copper Johns and you guys. And then the business related is just the Corey Bohner.
So we'll link all of Corey's stuff on there. Dude, thanks for coming.
You guys are awesome.
No, you are too.
Yeah.
No, it's been a while. We've talked about doing this.
Yeah.
And we've delayed it and delayed it.
Until today, you're like, are we doing that? And I'm like, yeah.
I called you. And, thank you guys.
We're going to have you back up here when Robert's in town for the marathon.
I'm going to be excited. All the content we're going to do.
Clear your schedule that entire day.
Friday. So Friday after the podcast, since it's going to be here, I said, why don't we just go down to the lab and create a scent for
Robert.
Yeah, I'm like, it just threw me off for a second.
You having a stroke?
For Robert, and then so like all of us can create an own like scent of the month or something like that. That'd be fun.
It'll be fun. I compare beards. Yeah. I really want to compare and see where I sit versus.
I was like, I know where I sit. You bet him.
Anyway, well, thanks so much for joining us this week, guys, and we will catch you next week, and we'll catch you next week.